Jefferson is coming?
For sure.
Very good. We have a couple of clips to show too for everybody who's here. So, oh wait, I think there's Bob. Bobby
There we
Samuel's in the
go.
house. How are you, sir?
Hey, I'm trying to get my background going. There we go.
No worries, no worries.
All right. Here we go. One. We'll just hit that one there. Open this one here. There we go.
There you go. Oh, excellent. Team one
All
take.
right. What's up, guys?
What's up?
What up?
So
How's
Robert,
that audio? Is my audio good?
yep, you're loud and clear.
Okay.
All right.
How you doing, Jeff? Good to see you, brother.
Good to see you as well, sir. We're waiting on Robert Jefferson, I believe. Yes.
Yes. Where is he? Let's see.
Oh wait, I think I hear him coming in.
Coming in.
I'm in.
Oh, here he is.
There you are, Robert. How are you, sir?
All
Hey, how's
right.
it going?
Good. All right. Gentlemen, it's really good to have you. Congratulations on Jugando con Fuego. What an epic action short there. So well done. I need to tell you, I was told that it was going to be a gritty action film. And Nicholas, I had a tip to you. I could feel the dirt. I could taste the dust in the back of my throat from the first couple of frames. So well done on that from you. What did you do to make that film as gritty as you could make it?
We actually slapped everybody in the face with dirt and dust at any chance we get. I personally slapped Bobby a few times with a handful of blood and dust.
Yeah.
You know, it was like those old school intimate actor director relationships. Where it's just like, you're not giving me the performance I need, and he's like, okay, I'm ready now. I get it. I'm a real actor. Old school status back in the day. None of this soft shit they do now.
Let me just run through the introduction then. That is director Nicholas Ortiz, who also wrote Jugando con Fuego, co-wrote it with a couple other guys, I believe. We also have Robert Samuels here, who played the ex-CIA agent James Forge. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Robert Jefferson, producer, and also part of the writing team for the film, and then Orlando Cruz up there with the amazing action design. So again, gentlemen, welcome to the Kung Fu Driving Podcast. It's so great to talk to you about the film. So with all of that dirt, obviously came a whole lot of blood, a whole lot of fighting. How long was the production on the film from start to finish?
Oh boy, I think pre-production, it was done over the course of about 5 or 6 months, and because it was happening in 2021, we were still in lockdown mode due to COVID. So it was a lot of Zoom meetings, and then I believe Bobby and Jeff, you guys were there about a full week ahead before we arrived. You arrived in Tijuana.
Yeah, we got ahead of you guys and got the locations together in the crew.
Yeah, and then when we landed, we did a couple of days of scouting, of just like the re-scouting is really what it was, and then production overall was about 10 days.
That's a compressed schedule, though, for shooting, right?
Yeah. Oh, it's really fast. Yeah.
Robert Jefferson? What were some of the difficulties or challenges that you guys had to face just with shooting in Tijuana, or were there any?
Well, we've shot there a number of years, so we're very well versed with the environment down there, the people, the culture. I think that if there was a difficult part, which there really wasn't too many difficulties in terms of the actual production, it was finding each other's rhythm and kind of falling back into that comfortable pace that we got to a few days in. But I wouldn't really call that a difficulty. I think it just is par for the course, and it just comes with the territory. This went surprisingly smoothly considering we had what 4 different teams really joining into one to make one vision happen. So I'm very proud of that.
Well, let me touch on that then. And Bobby Samuels, I'll go to you.
Yes.
Robert Jefferson just talked about that, 4 different teams. And now with 4 different teams and such a compressed schedule, what had to go into making all of the story come to life and all of the action come together and all of the personal interactions between the actors? What had to go into making all that work given the pressures of a compressed schedule?
So for us, the quagmire was actually going into unfamiliar territory for Nick, Hector, and Orlando, but familiar territory for Jefferson and myself. In addition to that, during the casting process, we were very cautious in how we casted the individuals for the roles in Mexico. A lot of the performers have worked with me prior years, so they understood what was about to happen and what was expected of them, having worked with me on 2 or 3 films before in shooting in Mexico. So that made it a lot easier. The language barrier wasn't a problem because mostly everybody spoke Spanish except me, to a degree. I speak a little bit, but not a lot. But just the overall pre-planning, like Nick said, took 5 months to make sure that we dotted the I's and crossed the T's before we even stepped foot into Tijuana. So because we know we knew we had a small schedule, so we had to make sure that we got everything in that time frame. And you guys can see the end result. So.
Yeah, amazing end result, and it's a good segue to Orlando there. With everything else that was going on, to get that action right again in that tight window, you had to have a lot of trust in your team and your cast to make sure that they were getting on the same page quickly. But what did you have to go into to make sure that everybody got to that page at the same time?
Um, to get it to everybody at the same time, it was more about having the vision pre-shoot. Like before, I had the vision was made clear on what road we wanted to take, and then so I had a visual of exactly what we all talked about, and so when I got there. And we did the 2 days of like re-scouting and stuff like that. Just basically want to walk through all the locations. It was more like showing the vision of what I had in my mind to the whole team as we were walking through, and then having them, what I'm saying, and then having them help out with the ideas, as I'm going along. So that's what I saw that actually worked a lot better for us if it wasn't just me alone. So it was like me. I was making sure that the direction that we were heading was on point, and everything else was little snippets that we added and the other people that helped out. It was more like I wanted to involve the team. I wanted everybody to be like, okay, so this is what we're gonna do, this and that, and I had already a straight vision going through it. But then when I would ask, what would you do to, like, example, some of the guys that we asked, so example, Brophy, he later on I had asked him, to do something. Hector, when doing the walkthroughs, was also there, and then even Bobby was I was talking back and forth with Bobby, like, okay, so based on we want this and that nitty gritty, you know he was Philip was like, I could do anything. I'm like, I true that. so then true that. And then we would say, okay, let's do this and that. And he would propose, well, how about we do this and that? And then a lot of times it was better. So it was like, yeah, let's go with that. So you know what I'm saying? It was like morphing the thing with everybody in there. And then plus I take always into consideration because I in my head, but then again, my imagining I'm from like.
Orlando, I think you were dropping you're dropping connection there a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, how about now? Better now?
Yeah, that's better. Yeah, the last thing that we heard you say was there was something in your head, and then you kind of cut out. If you want to pick it up from there.
Yeah, so there was something in my head that I could visualize, right? But it's a different thing. It's me imagining from space. You know what I'm saying? So when we're in the spot, I'm looking around. I'm like, okay, the camera could go better here, this and that, and we could take this action here. And then using that with Nick, Bobby, Jefferson, Hector, Jose, you know what I'm saying, and then a few other people that were there with us. It was like okay, so we morphed the whole action scene by scene as we walked around, and then whatever suggestions will come up, I'll be, I will take a few of the suggestions, and be like, oh yeah, we could use that, and then put it here, and some of them were like, okay, well we can enhance that and make it this way, and then just morph the action according to what we all had envisioned, and then that's how I had everybody at the same, everybody work together at the same time and go at the same pace. It was a lot of people, you know what I'm saying? It was a lot of us there, groups. So in order to keep it like how we see it, it's just involving everybody in the work. We all have the same dream. We all want to have a kick-ass film. So to do so, I figured, it'll be better if honestly we involve everybody else. Because me alone, I can imagine to a certain amount. You know what I'm saying? So adding everybody else's imagination, and then my job making sure that it went according to what we visualized. At the end, everybody was like, "Whoa!" And then I was like, "Yeah, that's it. That's what we're going with." So
That's
it was,
awesome.
yeah.
Nick, as the captain of the ship here, when, if at all, did you feel that you had control of the story and the action and the cast, and that it was all moving in the right direction together?
Uh, I don't think you ever really feel like you have control, like not total control. Like anyone who tells you otherwise, that was like, oh yeah, I had complete and utter control and I knew exactly what I was going to do on any given day, is a damn liar. All right. Every day is a new set of challenges and a new set of questions and a new set of answers to those questions. And so what it really requires, what I feel that film directing really requires, is a level of planning with an equal amount of adaptability. You can plan and plan and plan and talk and have discussions and have charts and lists and everything jotted out, and then you have to be ready to sweep the table clear, and then just go with whatever works best for the moment. It truly is an art in that respect. That sometimes the thing that you thought would be the best tool turns out to be the worst tool, and the thing that you thought would be the worst tool turns out to be the best tool, and you just have to be ready for that at any given moment. So in this instance, because we were all collectively in the right headspace of what we were going to do, how this was going to go about, and that both Bobby and Jefferson were, willing to put a lot of trust in me. We never had a chance to work with each other prior to this particular project. So we're landing in Tijuana. This is really the first time we're really going to be like, hey, we're working together. This is it. We're in a whole another country, thousands of miles away from home. No real immediate exit plans. It's like, oh, we're going to see this through. And so it was from once we landed and the camaraderie kicked in, it started to get a little bit easier. And then we were working with each other, and we were working as a team. Not all the best things that are about this movie were my idea. I can't claim to it. I was just there to be like, if anything, shepherd the fostering of creative ideas from everyone. If there's a good idea, then yeah, that's the best one. We're going to go with that one. And then I revealed the truth is that it doesn't matter who comes up with the best idea. They're going to give me the credit anyway. So it's just how it is.
Jefferson, let me go to you then, and as one of the producers on the film, what drew you to bring Nicholas on board and having him shepherd this crew across the finish line? And as part of the story team too, what was it about this story that you felt needed to be told?
Well, first things first. As far as Nick goes, I've seen his work. Just that simple. I was impressed with what I saw. Bobby's always about let's do something different. Let's get outside the box. We've been doing our own films, for almost a decade with our 4 films, and it was time for a shakeup, something new. And when he showed me Black Betty, I was like, hell yeah, let's do it. As far as the story itself, again, we've been back and forth to Mexico for a number of years, and we've been trying to find the best way to capture the environment, the mise en scène, the people, just the flavor of the country itself. And Bobby and I have been kicking around the idea to do sort of a Man on Fire kind of a thing. And it came up again, and it we threw it at the wall and it stuck. So, I tinkered around with a couple of thoughts, and I handed them over to Bobby. He liked them. He was like, let's show this to Nick. And Nick was like, hold my beer, and then came back with an amazing script. And the rest, I think it's on the screen.
Speaking of off the screen, let me run a clip right now, and you guys, Bobby Samuels, I'm going to come to you right after we show the clip. So
Sure.
that was awesome. That's awesome. I love the I love the flush at the end with the machete there, where you just had to get those extra shots in. That was great.
Yeah.
But so tell me, Bobby, about James Forge, ex-CIA, and he's got this. This looks like a one last job he's got to do here. What did you bring to this character? What was his motivation, and why is he so good with the machete?
Well, once Nick wrote the character, we talked about the ideas and that, but once the character was fleshed out, I really felt this character. Having worked in Hong Kong for so many years, having co-starred with everybody under the sun and worked with everybody, I never really had a chance to actually be the lead actor in a film. So this is where the relationship came with Nick and I. I said, listen, bro, I need you. Fuqua, Washington, bro, let's do this. You know what I mean? Denzel Washington, Antoine Fuqua, me and you. And it just kind of worked, man. I trusted his judgment on how I should deliver the character. I didn't want to be typecast as like being the Hong Kong guy, I wanted to show the depth and breadth of acting ability that I had in addition to martial arts. So for this particular film, I wouldn't even label it as a martial arts film per se. It's an action thriller with martial arts in it. And I needed to deliver in that fashion. Most people know me as the Hong Kong guy, but with Orlando, Hector, and Angel, they managed to kind of work together and come up with a different vibe for how I delivered the action this time around. And with Nick working with my character, I drew upon a lot of African American leads that I've seen over the years. As I said, Man on Fire was an inspiration. It's one of my favorite films. So I just wanted to kind of play it straight, as opposed to, the overt acting that I used to do in Hong Kong films. And I hope it worked. I think it worked. I won Best Actor in New York. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, you did.
The film has won a number of awards. Nick,
yes.
That's got to be some supreme validation for the work, yeah?
I mean, I don't like to brag, but I will introduce myself to complete strangers as, hi, I'm multi award winning director Nicholas Ortiz. How are you doing today? Yes, I'll one Splenda in my coffee, thank you.
Well, as you received accolades, obviously well earned. With the character that Bobby played, was that guy fully formed in your head when you guys started putting the story together? Did you and did when Bobby came to you about being that character, did that work for you right away? Did that click? Was it like this is how it's got to be?
Yeah, we Bobby and I had like actual like actor director like conversations, like those real like legit conversations. The still photos, the behind the scenes still photos of the director and the actor like talking to each other, and they both have very intense looks. We actually got a chance to really do that. When they came to me with the story, right? Jefferson had this story, and and then, like he said, he was like, "Hey, we have the story," and I said, "Hold my beer," and I ran with it. My goal was to kind of really try to make all of the characters, not just the James Forge character, but also the antagonist of the piece, Tony Lobo, try to make them as fully fledged as we could achieve with our running time. And so that everyone had something that made them feel real. And that reality to the characters comes through in the performance, and then also then trickles down into the fight performances on top of that. So when you see that clip that we had just played, where James Forge is very desperately trying not to die in this very small, close quarter space, it's Bobby really selling, the intent. He knew where he was at that particular moment, how much energy he had already used up, and that he was just staying half a step ahead of everyone else. There was a level of desperation that we wanted to kind of get across in the action, and it also kind of reflected in the character's motivations. He's trying to do something that most people would say is kind of impossible or a really, really bad idea. He's trying to come after a cartel leader, and that's usually an action that's frowned upon. So, and the fact that he's trying to do it almost completely on his own is remarkable.
Yeah, probably not a good idea. But the way that he got there was fabulous. And speaking of which, the way the film was laid out, we meet the character. There's a little bit of action. We meet the characters, and then we go on like a 12-minute action binge, which for fans of action was like, oh my god, I could die now. That was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So Orlando, knowing you had that sequence coming up, what kind of planning starts going off in your head, knowing that you're going to do these back-to-back sequences that have to really kick ass, because it really, that's the flavor of the fights and the action really come through with those characters throughout that long sequence.
Yeah, it was like when you watch a comic book, right? And you see like the certain pages have like a certain flavor, right? And they have a certain way of being when they're doing their action stuff, right? And then it changes on its tone according to the character. So when we were talking and planning this stuff, right? The one thing that I was emphasizing, it was like we need to keep, everything different, right? That's the one thing that I was making sure that the number one thing that I was making sure is that the emotional part is there, and we were all saying the same thing. We want to show the emotion, right? And with the emotion is where we sell the action, because each part that you see, it's completely different from what it's for his predecessor, and each one has a different emotion, a different speed, a different type of action. And we've morphed it according to what was going on in the moment and what was happening to James Forge in the moment. That's how we actually pulled that one off, because we wanted to show at all times, we wanted the audience to get invested in the action. Because if we were just throwing together this action because it looks cool, that looks cool, this looks cool, it sucks. As an action fan, like all of us are, I like to see those movies that have the simplest stuff, but it's the emotional part that catches you, and that's what I noticed that sells it for everybody, and then for myself too. Like when I see it, it's like if they have that, you're invested in that action, is in the emotional part. It's like, wow, the action is so all of a sudden different. So then on each one of these, we emphasize, like, I wanted to make sure that we stood with each one has to be completely different according to what's happening to James Forge in the moment.
All right. Now, on that note, you did mention that we had the heavy Tony Lobo, but there was another guy that got to show off some bad guy moves here. So I'm going to play this clip.
Yep.
Jose Manuel.
Yeah, he couldn't be with us tonight, but Awesome job by him as well as Guapo there,
Yeah,
and
Roxalinda
Rosalinda
Vasquez.
Vasquez. Yes, doing a great job with the knife fighting. A skill which I don't think gets shown enough on screen. So kudos to you guys for bringing that into the mix there. Jeff, with this cast, what was more important to getting the story right on screen? Did you have to feel the characters from their acting chops, or did you have to be able to see that character come alive in the action, or or did you have to get to that balance so that it was a full character right there?
I would say it was a balance because, and Nick, you can go ahead and correct me if I'm wrong, but I do recall we were kind of tailoring characters to who we envisioned them to be and who we envisioned playing them on screen. So we, knowing what we had to work with, and just even as a producer, like knowing your cast, your crew, their strengths and weaknesses, and working in such a way that we only enhance the strengths is what you're seeing on screen, and then pushing them a little bit beyond where they think they can go, trying to show them a little bit something new, trying to really take people out of their comfort zone is really, I think, the theme of this entire production. I mean, Bobby said it himself, and it's the thing I'm most proud of, with his performance, is getting out of a certain style of acting that he had been accustomed to, and it's something that he and I talked about a great deal. Hector, as well, is he's an action guy. He's most comfortable punching and kicking, but if you watch his performance, he's really convincing. I mean, Jose Manuel as well. He's usually the hero of most stories, and even in person, he's like a very upbeat, like happy-go-lucky, like a nice guy. So to see him as a bad guy is an interesting twist and something that I don't think most people who know his work would expect. So I think it was a delicate balancing act of knowing what people's strengths and weaknesses were, and then pushing them a little bit past the points of comfort.
And
I
on
approve of
that
this
note, then,
message.
nice, Bobby, and not to knock you on any level, we're not young spring chickens anymore, right? So the
It's true.
action that you threw down here is intense. And what did it take for you to get to that level and showcase that level of action? Again, knowing that you're not 20 anymore,
Yeah.
So what did you how deep did you have to dig to get that action across?
Well, I'll be the first to say that this was probably one of my most physically demanding films in my entire career. Even though it's a short film, it was just relentless rehearsals, the previs that we did before the action, and actually filming the action itself. Totally exhausting. Usually in films like this, you have a sidekick, a counterpart. Yeah, hey, you go get him. I'll get him. None of that this time. It was just mano y mano y mano. It's just man, just woman. Even the girls were coming at me. So it was probably the most physically challenging of all. But again, I didn't want to do action like people see me do action for 30 years. I wanted to make sure that I showed a different level, and also that I still have it.
You definitely still have it. Not a problem there at all. And you guys mentioned Hector Soria and his character Tony Lobo. I have one last clip that I want to show, and we'll get into it right after this.
No wires were used for that scene. Hector really just picked Bobby up with one hand.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
He's a beast.
Hector is a very
Doghouse.
large and powerful individual, so
Yo.
So yeah, so
Ooh.
Hector was given a lot of Kingpin vibes there. In fact, after a few minutes, I started calling him King Pendejo, because he was just so cool. He had the dapper look on, and of course he throws down the action so well. He was involved with the fight coordination here, I'm sure.
Mhm.
So,
Okay.
what now, Nick? You talked about it a little bit about being careful how you presented the cast and the action here.
Mhm.
When you're dealing with a place like Tijuana, and then the one of the main heavies is Hector Sorio's character Tony Lobo.
Mhm.
Um, were you concerned, or how concerned were you about making sure that it wasn't a caricature or a stereotype when you presented Tony? He was a great character, and he wasn't, in my opinion, any kind of stereotype at all. So, how concerned were you about making sure that that was done right?
Very concerned. Obviously, one of the kind of big conversations that is happening in the industry is representation and how that representation is coming across in all forms of media. Are people opposed to having people of color, Latinos, and African Americans and Asians portray bad guys? No, we're not opposed to that at all. Do we want there to at least be a sense of character and proper motivations? Yeah, you can have bad guys that have those kind of shades of nuance built within that. And also the other thing, the easiest thing to do is don't you don't have to go to like full on cartoon villain and lean into tropes and stereotypes that way. So with the Tony Lobo character, his performance, Hector's performance, is surprisingly subdued. He's not up there and screaming and cursing every word, and every other word is the F word, and all that. He's a man of kind of stoicism in a way. He's very, very still, and we save the explosive kind of character work for that fight scene. The fight between Tony Lobo and James Forge is essentially a cage match. He's just like it's two wrestlers in a ring, and they are legitimately just slamming each other into anything that isn't nailed down to the floor. And that's where the activity comes in. So yeah, it's really important to me that when we do these characters like this, is just like that. There's a proper motivation, and there's a proper amount of respect, and that there's still to be fun to be had out of it. Just because we're being a bit more nuanced and a bit more respectful doesn't mean that fun still can't be had.
Yeah, excellent. Orlando, do you have a favorite sequence from the film?
Oh, me? Oh, yeah. Uh, my favorite sequence, honestly, is the fight scene with Jose Manuel. That fight scene right there in Rosalina, the two twins. Honestly, that right there. Listen, that when I saw it, when we were doing it, when we were formulating it, right at that point, I had trusted into Hector to I'm like I'm doing the choreography and also shooting on the one side, and then at that point it was like I'm busy, and then Hector was like, "Hey, can you see real quick what we did?" And I got in there, and I was like, "All right, oh my god!" when I saw what they had created together between Bobby, Jose, and Hector, I was like, just make it a little dirtier, and they were like this. I was like, that's it, we're good, let's go. It was, I gotta say, it was amazing. When I saw that, I was like, yeah, nah, we good. Let's stay with that. That's make it dirty, put some blood, have fun, have at thee. Let's go. Because it was really good. It is my favorite, honestly. I
It's a
love the
great
entire
scene.
thing, obviously, but when I saw the scene all put together, after and all that stuff done, and then Nick was like, "You want to see something?" I'm like, "Yeah," and he showed me the whole thing. He showed me that. I was like, I couldn't say no more. I was like,
Yep.
"Yeah, nah, that's my favorite scene right there."
Nice, Bobby. How about you?
For me, I would have to say I enjoyed the bathroom scene. Um, that was probably my favorite and the most challenging for me because of the confined area and so many bodies and guns and knives and everything going off at the same time. It was and the cameras in there and the DP and like making sure I didn't hit Nick with the machete, or the camera. That's a red. I don't want to mess that up. That's an expensive camera. But that was probably my favorite scene. I do like the Jose Manuel and Roxy scene, but I'll say that secondary reason being is because if you paid attention to all the action, that was really the most stylized Hong Kong-like scene than any of the other scenes.
Yes.
So for me, I've done that kind of work. You know what I'm saying? So the challenge for me was the gritty bathroom scene that Orlando and Angel put together.
Yeah.
And shout out to Brophy and B Squad Acción, Mexico action team. They're great.
Yeah, they did a great job.
They did.
Jeff, what about you? Was there a particular part of this film that really spoke to you in terms of knowing that this was going to be a film that was going to resonate with audiences all over?
For me, I gotta say I liked the bar scene. Everything from once Bobby drops that machete to right before the knife fight. And mostly because the knife fight is the obvious answer, but I just feel like we had a lot of fun planning that section. It was like such a gauntlet. I love the way the character and the camera work and the action moves around the room. I really feel like for me that scene has a lot of energy, and I really enjoy watching it when I watch the film.
Yeah, you bring up an important point too. I have to give credit to Nick, I believe, for editing this into the final piece. It flowed so well. So congratulations on doing that.
Thank you.
But let me ask you, aside from all the action, is there a quiet moment in this film that you think is an important one for audiences to look at and go, this is what makes this film my film?
Oh boy, is there a quiet moment? That's a good question. I think the scene with Hector at his headquarters prior to all the action.
Oh, yeah.
There's a very it was a great sequence to do. Hector is not an actor or a traditionally trained actor. He's a stunt. He was our choreographer and coordinator on this, and he's done stunt work before, but he's not an actor. And that was the scene that I was like, all right, Hector, today you're an actor. So he had to memorize like pages of lines. And he was there. I remember just looking out of the corner of my eye, and there he is, just kind of like, okay, I gotta say this. It's like, it'd be so much easier if somebody punched me in the face right now. And he's like, and that performance, that particular scene is what I was talking about in terms of like, making sure that you're giving us real characters. Is like, he really sold it. To his credit, he did a fantastic job selling that scene. And getting that dialogue in, and getting the quiet rage that is inside Tony Lobo, and that kind of comes to our understanding, and then that understanding then makes him like a much more relatable character and a cool character on top of that. I think it's also the scene too where he looks the most like Sammo Hung from SPL.
Yeah.
And every time we saw, and I framed up the shot, and I looked up, I was like, "Oh, it's Sammo!" I'm looking at Sammo, and even Bobby, who knows Sammo personally, was just like, "Sammo."
I was floored. Yeah, he did remind me of Sammo in that scene.
That scene. I think the other one, I'm going to give honorable mention to all of the scenes that involved Bobby and Armando as Miguel.
Armando, yes.
Oh God, yeah.
Those two, I honestly, like, if we ever get to do like another project, I'm literally just gonna have like just the two of them just banter. Like, there's nothing else happening. They're just sitting there and they're talking. I love all of those scenes, especially with Armando, who's like this like hidden gem of a talent down there. Their relationship, their banter, their chemistry is so palpable, and it's like, and everyone is just like, that's such a great thing. Also, I get a lot of props for having the kind of English Spanish conversion conversations.
Yeah, definitely.
which make me personally happy as well, because that's as Latinos know, English and Spanish are the same language in one house. Everyone speaks it all to each other, and we all understand each other perfectly. And yeah, there's no like, what did she say? And what did he say? Like, nope, I've been yelled at in Spanish my whole life. I can't speak it to save my life, but I know exactly what was said in that moment.
Yep.
Oh man. What about scenes that had to hit the cutting room floor? Was there anything that you had to leave behind that you think uh, maybe could have added a little bit more flavor?
I think there was a scene we cut. We didn't even shoot it. There was an original. There was a different way of introducing the Forge character at the beginning of the movie. There was more of a dream sequence that was happening, and it was a bit more like weird and experimental in that respect. And it was one of those, is that as the shoot went on, when we saved that for the end because it was a much more quiet scene, and we were really trying to focus to make sure that we got as much coverage on the action as we could. And that scene we ended up cutting, or that the dream sequence we ended up cutting, but I think it works out much better that way than anything else. We didn't really cut out too much. It was a very sparse script that we had once we had it in place, so we didn't have to cut out too much, and so like wasn't worried about like, oh, this is too long. If anything, what happens in editing for me is more like, does this flow as smoothly and naturally as it possibly can? And so a lot of times I'm making minor tweaks, adding space here, taking away space there, just so that the flow of everything can be as enjoyable as possible for everyone else watching it.
All right, Bobby. Then James Forge, your leading role. Now that you've inhabited the character, now that you've walked around his shoes a bit, how do you feel? Do we get to see him again anytime soon?
Yeah, we're actually we're in discussions about that now, because of the success of the film. I mean, we knew we had something interesting, but we had no idea that we would be getting this type of attention across the globe. So
legitimately, people are yelling at us, "Give us the full movie!"
Right? Yeah.
Where is the full feature?
That's what they want. They want the full feature. So I mean, Nick and I.
No. Did we lose him?
A James Forge feature. It's possible.
Nice, Jeff. Yeah, you're deep in the weeds with that kind of stuff. So, what's the early odds of getting back to James Forge and seeing the rest of that story?
I would say they're fairly good, but we don't want to do it without proper resources, because from here the only way to go is up. We kind of surprised ourselves with, and not to like blow our own horn or sound arrogant or whatever, but how good the film came out with, because it was like an experiment. You know what I mean? We were like, what if we all kind of took our resources and pulled them and made a film with multiple different groups, where separately we've won awards at different film festivals or whatever, and the theory just was, well, if we take a bunch of people who have won awards here and there sporadically at different award ceremonies and festivals or whatnot, then clearly when you combine that, it should make it that much better. We didn't know it was going to be like this much better. So now we're kind of at the point where we're like, okay, all right. There are some, I'll put it like this. There are some ideas in place. We have to settle on one that we think is going to work and that's going to give the fans of the film as it is exactly what they want, plus something.
I mean,
I just threw up a message there from Brophy. Everyone is so talented and down to earth. It was a pleasure to work with everyone. So shout out to you guys.
B Squad Action Productions in Tijuana.
B Squad, baby.
See. Yeah.
Awesome. So then let me know then what you guys have individually, and if you have anything as a group coming up. But Orlando, let's start with you. What do you have coming up?
Coming up is actually with the collective, with the guys, with everybody you see here. So Aside from that, I myself nothing much honestly. But with the guys collective, we got some stuff cooking up and all that.
Yeah.
So
Clearly, nothing you can talk about since you're hedging there.
yeah, I can't yet.
My finger is over this red button that
Yeah.
may or may not be tied to an explosive implanted in Orlando's neck.
Yeah.
Jeff,
Don't
what
make me
about you?
do it. Don't make me do it.
Jeff, what do you have going on? What's coming up for you?
Well, we're about to drop Shadow Fist, starring Bobby Samuels as the heavy in that film. It is a throwback to um, old school kung fu films and a follow up to Shadow Fist 1, again, as demanded by uh, our followers and fans and people who have seen Shadow Fist 1, also produced by this group you see here. I think that's part of what Orlando was hedging and Nick was about to press the red button on. But yes, that's coming like right behind Jugando con Fuego. And we also have a film called Blackout, which is it's another spy type of a deal. But Bobby, what would you say about Blackout?
We just it's interesting. It's different than Jugando. We just finished the Tijuana and Rosarita portions of the film. We're about to start the U.S. side of the film. Thanks to Nick and Orlando, they've been producing and working with us on this, and I get to have a spectacular fight scene with Orlando this time as the villain. So definitely looking forward to that.
And a special guest direction section by Nick himself again.
That's right.
So
that'll be coming out early 23.
Yeah.
So our plate is kind of full right now, and we just right now we appreciate Jugando and all the love and attention that we're getting. I hope everyone can go to Vimeo and support our cause. Because again, we want to keep creating content like this. Because I mean, doing fight scenes are cool, for YouTube and all that, but it's just we feel as though where we're at, we just want to take things to a different level. And that the content that we create now is more story driven, to give the audience more to absorb, as opposed to just punches and kicks and gimmicky fight scenes and things of that nature. Nothing wrong with that, but it's just that for our edifice, for our own plate, we've decided to kind of up the ante a little bit. So we'll be putting out original content. And we just hope that everybody can support us. Right now, it's on Vimeo. Shout out to the musical producers that helped us as well. Collective, Ben Sanchez, Reese Tanaka, Shane Perchetti. So we're very appreciative. And our executive producers, Mark Wiley, the Santi brothers, our Mexico producers. We couldn't have
Also Tayari Cassell.
Oso Tiari Cassell. Again, this is not just the four people you see here or the actors. We had people that believed in us, people that kind of bankrolled things for us, and we want to give them their respect as well. So thank you also, Jeff.
Don't thank me. I'm just here to ride your wake. You guys are doing amazing work. So, but Nick, to you then with the final word. First, let everybody know where they can see it, and then tell me what you got going on.
Right. Well, you can watch Jugando con Fuego now on vimeo.com/on-demand/Jugando con Fuego. And if you use the promo code JCF2022, you will get a discount off your rental fee. In terms of like future projects, obviously working on this, the kind of the ending fight scene for this project called Blackout. We're really excited at that. We're currently going to be prepping Shadow Fist 2 to hopefully be released very shortly before the end of 2022. And that'll also be through Vimeo.com on demand as well. So you'll be able to see it there. And then 2023, we have a whole host of projects that we want to do with each other as well as separately. Currently, I'm doing a series of dance visuals with a very good friend of mine, Crystal Honey, who many may remember as Black Betty from the short film that I made, Black Betty. And also, just to kind of like let this be known right here, Black Betty herself, she's not done with either. She may show up. She may show up at some point. I don't know if it'll be here. You never know. She's slick, that one. You got to be careful. You sleep on her, she'll make you pay.
Well, clearly nobody is Jugando con Fuego. You guys are getting awards left and right, and all well earned. Congratulations on the success you've had so far. Let's hope that the people with the deep pockets reach out to you guys to give you that full length feature that we also richly want to see. So, Orlando Cruz, thank you so much for stopping by. Nick Ortiz, thank you. Bobby Samuels, Robert Jefferson, thank you so much for talking with me. And again, best of luck with the film. Well done, guys. Yeah, you should all be proud, and hopefully we'll get to see much more of James Forge and more of his adventures. But thank you guys for stopping to talk.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Take care.
Take care, guys. Have a great night. Be safe, everybody.
Yeah, be safe out there. Bye.